Welcome to News Edge, your sharpest source for daily headlines and deep dives. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay ahead of the curve. Alright, let's talk about tariffs. You might have heard the word tossed around in the news, especially when countries are having disagreements about trade. But what exactly are tariffs, and why should you care about them? Well, even if you've never thought about tariffs before, they actually play a bigger role in your daily life than you might realize. Tariffs are government-imposed taxes on imported goods. In other words, when a product is brought into a country from abroad, the government can charge a fee, called a tariff, on that product. This fee is usually paid by the importer, but the cost often gets passed down to you, the consumer. Imagine ordering a pizza from across the street, but before you get it, a government official steps in and demands a slice as payment. That's a tariff in action, a little piece taken out before you even get to enjoy your pizza. The government takes a cut, and suddenly, your pizza costs more than you expected. That extra cost doesn't just disappear, it comes out of your pocket, making everyday items just a bit pricier. The main idea behind tariffs is to make foreign goods more expensive, so you're more likely to buy products made locally. When imported items cost more, local businesses can compete more easily, and you might find yourself reaching for the Made in Your Country label. This is meant to protect domestic industries and jobs. By making imported goods pricier, tariffs can help local factories stay open, keep workers employed, and encourage companies to invest in their own country's economy. But there's a catch. When one country imposes tariffs, other countries often retaliate by putting their own tariffs in place. This back and forth can quickly escalate into what's known as a trade war, where both sides keep raising taxes on each other's goods. These trade wars can disrupt businesses, create uncertainty, and raise prices for everyone. Companies might struggle to get the parts they need, shelves can go empty, and small businesses may even be forced to close their doors. Tariffs can reshape entire industries and change the cost of everyday items you rely on, from your morning cup of coffee to the car you drive or the electronics you use at home. Even if you don't notice it right away, these changes can add up over time. It's a policy that reaches into your wallet, often without you noticing. The next time you're surprised by a higher price tag, tariffs might be part of the reason why. And right now, one tariff in particular is making headlines: copper. This metal is used in everything from electronics to construction, and changes in its price can ripple through the entire economy. So, understanding tariffs isn't just for economists or politicians, it matters to all of us. On August 1, 2025, the US government made headlines by announcing a sweeping new policy, a massive 50% tariff on certain copper imports. This move sent shockwaves through both domestic and international markets, signaling a dramatic shift in America's approach to global trade and resource security. The announcement was made during a high-profile press conference, with officials emphasizing the need to protect American industry and jobs. The new tariff specifically targets semi-finished copper products, the essential building blocks for a vast array of goods, from electrical wiring and plumbing to electronics and renewable energy infrastructure. These products are the backbone of modern manufacturing, and any change in their cost ripples through countless industries. Almost immediately, industries that rely heavily on copper felt the shock. Factory floors buzzed with uncertainty as managers scrambled to assess the impact on their supply chains. Business leaders expressed concern about rising costs, potential layoffs, and the challenge of finding alternative suppliers. The ripple effect was felt from small manufacturers to multinational corporations. In response, the Commerce Department was tasked with an even bigger job, reviewing the entire list of copper-related imports to identify more items that could be subject to tariffs in the future. This ongoing review created an atmosphere of uncertainty, as companies waited to see which products might be next on the list. Meanwhile, trade talks with the United Kingdom kicked off, aiming to establish new rules for copper trade between the two nations. These negotiations added another layer of complexity and confusion, as both sides tried to protect their own industries while maintaining a stable trading relationship. The administration didn't stop there. It also proposed a 15% tariff on refined copper starting in 2027, with plans to double that rate to 30% by 2028. This phased approach is designed to give domestic producers time to ramp up capacity, but it also signals a long-term commitment to reshaping the copper market in America's favor. In addition, a new rule would require U.S. industries to source at least 25% of their copper from domestic suppliers, This is expected to boost American mining and manufacturing, but it also raises questions about whether domestic production can keep up with demand and at what cost to consumers and businesses. Notably, auto parts manufacturers were spared the full brunt of the new tariffs. Instead of the 50% rate, they'll face a 25% tariff, a move designed to protect the American automotive industry from sudden price spikes while still encouraging more domestic sourcing. For everyone else, electronics makers, construction companies, appliance manufacturers, and more, the cost of copper just skyrocketed overnight. Price tags on copper products are already rising, and many businesses are warning that these increases will soon be passed on to consumers. The message from Washington is clear. America wants its copper to be American no matter the cost. This policy is about more than just economics, it's about national pride, security, and the desire to control critical supply chains in an uncertain world. As a result, the entire copper supply chain is being reshaped almost overnight. Importers are scrambling to find new sources, logistics companies are rerouting shipments, and manufacturers are rethinking their production strategies to adapt to the new reality. And this is just the beginning. With more tariffs and trade rules on the horizon, America's copper story is entering a bold new chapter, one that could redefine the future of industry, trade, and economic power for years to come. Why target foreign copper? The official answer: national security. A Section 232 investigation found the U.S. dangerously dependent on foreign copper, especially from Chile and Canada. The fear is that disruptions could threaten defense production. Tariffs are framed as a way to boost domestic supply and reduce vulnerability. President Trump has long argued that tariffs protect American jobs and industries. Critics, however, say the national security argument is just cover for protectionism. After all, Canada is our top supplier and a close ally, not exactly a threat. Still, the policy is in place and it's shaking up a multi-billion-dollar industry. Tariffs aren't just abstract government policy. They have a direct and often surprising impact on your everyday life, especially when it comes to your wallet. While the word tariff might sound like something that only affects big corporations or faraway countries, the reality is that these taxes on imported goods can change the prices you see every time you shop, eat out, or pay your bills. Take small manufacturers, for example. Many rely on materials like copper to make their products. When tariffs are imposed, the price of copper can jump by as much as 50%. For these businesses, that kind of increase isn't just a minor inconvenience. It can be devastating, threatening their ability to stay open and keep workers employed. Faced with higher costs, small business owners are forced to make tough choices. They can try to absorb the extra expense, which often means cutting back on hiring, reducing hours, or even letting employees go. Or they can pass those costs on to customers, raising prices and risking losing loyal shoppers. Either way, the pressure is intense, and the stakes are high for local economies. It's not just small businesses that feel the squeeze. Major companies like Toyota and Honda have publicly warned that tariffs will eat into their profits, forcing them to raise car prices. That means whether you're shopping for a new sedan or a family SUV, you could end up paying hundreds or even thousands more than you expected. Even industries you might not expect, like your favorite coffee shop or athletic wear store, are affected. When the cost of equipment, uniforms, or imported coffee beans goes up, those increases eventually show up in the price of your morning latte or the sneakers you buy for your kids. These higher costs don't just stay with businesses. They trickle down to you, the consumer, fueling inflation and making everyday essentials more expensive. Suddenly your grocery bill is higher, and your paycheck doesn't stretch as far as it used to. The hidden tax of tariffs means you pay more for everything from air conditioners and kitchen appliances to home renovations and repairs. Even if you don't see a tariff line on your receipt, the extra cost is built into almost everything you buy. It's invisible, but it's real. Every time you scan a receipt or check your shopping bags, you're feeling the effects of tariffs, even if you don't realize it. While lawmakers in Washington debate trade policy and tariffs, families across America are left to deal with the consequences, a steady, sometimes overwhelming rise in the cost of living. It's a ripple effect that starts with a single policy decision and spreads to every corner of the economy. Tariffs don't just affect a few products, they ripple through the entire economy, touching nearly every purchase you make, from groceries and clothing to electronics and cars. The impact is real, and it's growing. As more tariffs are introduced or increased, more businesses and families feel the pinch. sometimes forcing tough choices about what to buy, where to shop, or even how to make ends meet. All of this can happen from a single policy shift. A reminder that decisions made in government chambers can have a powerful, lasting effect on your daily life and your wallet. Canada isn't a threat, it's our closest ally and top trading partner. We share a massive border and trade over $1 billion daily. Canada supplies vital resources, including copper, to U.S. industries. The new tariffs hit Canada hard, straining a long-standing partnership. Many supply chains cross the border multiple times, now facing new taxes and paperwork at each step. The result: higher costs, logistical headaches, and growing frustration in Canada. What was once seamless cooperation now feels like betrayal. The tariffs risk turning a model relationship into a source of conflict. Canada didn't just accept the tariffs, they hit back. In response, Canada imposed its own tariffs on U.S. goods, targeting politically sensitive industries. Products like bourbon, cheese, and orange juice now face new taxes entering Canada. The goal: pressure U.S. lawmakers to reconsider. American exporters suddenly find themselves priced out of the Canadian market. Lost sales and jobs follow, hurting the very industries tariffs were meant to protect. Trade wars rarely end with one move, they escalate. Now both countries are locked in a standoff, with businesses and consumers caught in the middle. The friendly border has become a battleground, all over copper. For cross-border businesses, tariffs have created a bureaucratic maze. Multiple tariffs overlap, each with its own rules and paperwork. The U.S. ended duty-free exemptions for low-value Canadian goods, adding costs and delays. The USMCA trade deal offers some relief, but only if companies can prove complex rules of origin. For small businesses, the paperwork alone can be overwhelming. The once smooth flow of goods is now a confusing, costly scramble. The U.S. tariff wave isn't just a North American issue, it's global. Countries like China, the EU, and Japan have all responded with their own tariffs or negotiations. Even allies argue their exports aren't security threats, seeking exemptions. Surprise tariffs on countries like Switzerland and India have sparked new disputes. U.S. trade policy is now a tool of foreign policy, creating global uncertainty. Economists warn that most tariff costs are paid by American consumers, not foreign governments. The result: volatile markets and a world on edge. So, are tariffs worth it? It depends who you ask. Supporters say they protect jobs, boost security, and give the U.S. leverage in trade talks. They see short-term pain as a path to long-term gains and fairer deals. Critics argue tariffs hurt more than they help, raising costs and inviting retaliation. Many American jobs depend on imports, and disrupted supply chains can destroy as many jobs as they save. The U.S.-Canada standoff could escalate, or negotiations might bring relief. For now, businesses are stuck in limbo, bracing for more turmoil. The risks are clear economic pain and strained alliances. The rewards: harder to see. One thing's certain: this story isn't over.